add up the marks at the end, right? You got to come up with a mark somehow. The first one here, we're dealing with a lease, of course. So you look at leasing section in your on your study sheet. Try to be on time, guys. If you get a pass and you're not there, no play, right? Total monthly leasing payment. This is a little controversial, but this is where I want you to learn to read carefully. Total monthly leasing payment, just the one payment, technically. So in this case, all it wanted is to take the 385 and add the taxes to it. Don't erase yet, don't mark it wrong. So technically this is a payment, right? If you did multiply this by, we have 36 months, right? The total comes out to be 15,523.20. This question wasn't worded very well, so whether you have this or this, I will give you the mark regardless. Usually it will say calculate the total amount paid in payments, or the total payments amount over the 36 months or something like that. So you will know if it's this or if it's asking how much is just one payment including taxes, okay? So one mark regardless. B, the total paid by the end of the lease. This is known as the total cost of the lease. So this is the formula that, out of all the formulas that I gave you, this is the one that I would have wanted you to draw from, which includes your down payment plus your total payments made, plus if it talks about anything else, mileage is the most common, you would add that as well. We don't need to worry about the mileage. In this case, we just have your down payment of $4,000. Your total payments is already taken care of up here. We already taxed it, right? See here, 1.12. So this is just adding two numbers together. That's really what this is. And this ends up being 19,523.20. Okay. I give this 2 marks. We're really going to make this out of 1. Okay, like there's really not, there are no 2 marks there. So go back up to the top for B and just change that to B out of 1. So we have 1 mark there for B. That's for B. So C, the residual value including tax. So this is a little dated. The province has, if you want the residual value including taxes, we call that buyout, right? That's what we call it. But let's figure out the residual value first. It is 65%. Always turn a percentage into a decimal before you use it. And you multiply it by how much it was brand new, which is 35,850.75. If you multiply these two, you get, let me just get that right, you get 23,302.99. I will give you a mark for having that number show up already. And then the buyout is this number times tax, right, times 1.12. That would be 26,099.35, and a dollar sign has to accompany this last number here. So a mark for the figuring out this. Well, Mr. Jackson, what if I did it all in one shot? What if I went 0.65 times this times 1.12? Well, you get the 2 marks, right? You're doing what you're supposed to do. So 2 marks for C. D is the total cost of the vehicle, including the lease, if it is purchased outright at the end of the lease. So you're basically saying, I'm leasing it, I'm done with my lease, I come back, I like the car, I want to buy it. So it is essentially adding up the 19,523.20 and adding up the total that you would pay for it. And the total is 45,622.55. Okay, so just one mark. If I see you adding up the values in C and B, you get this mark. What I do is I go, if it's wrong, you're listening, guys? If it's wrong, I go X, but if you ever see step check, that means that this is not the number that you're supposed to get, but you perform the right steps, right? So you still get the marks if that is ever there. Dollar sign, two decimals, especially if it's dollars, you want 2 decimals. So how many marks for 1? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So next to question 1, you should have a mark out of 5, so you know how much you're supposed to get there. Next, we've got a new car. You're buying a brand new car from a dealership, of course. The manufacturer suggested retail price is that, so that's how much we're looking at paying as is. There's a trade-in, and there's a documentation fee of $149. Let's say that threw you off right there. You should be able to do everything else, right? So this is new. What does new call for? The sticker minus trade times 1.12. That's, in a nutshell, what it's asking for. I will do the sticker price on the side here. Sticker is the $22,998 plus, in this case, the documentation fee. So anything that is thrown at you, AC tax, freight, anything, just add it up. So you get 20, sorry, this is wrong. This would be 7, 14, 11, so 23,147. Minus the trade-in, which is 5,000, and multiply that by 1.12. If I see this number right here, which is 18,147, and you multiply that by 1.12, if I see the 18,147, you already get a mark. If you, on top of that, add taxes to it, you get this, 20,324. $20,324.64. That's another mark. So in total, 2 marks, right? 1 mark for figuring out. Basically, what I'm looking for is: are you taking the trade-in away before you tax it? If you don't do that in that particular order, you only get 1 out of 2, and possibly more if you get your sticker wrong. So this page is out of 7. Total, right? 2 for this question, 5 for first question, so 7 total. Now we do the back side. You're good? Okay. I'm recording this, so if it's too fast, you know where to get it. Okay, amortization table that is partially filled in. Remember, the payment, some of you might appreciate this. The payment is this plus that. So these two added up always gives you the payment. So if you have the payment and one of these, you just subtract them and then you get what's left over. So this is $296.90 minus $261.48. So this cell should have this number in it. I don't care if you showed me the work or not, but it's 3542. Okay, and what do we do with this number? We take that away from our previous balance. So if you subtract that, you get, is this the same one we did yesterday? I think so. You're welcome. 9738.52. is what you owe them. You go second month, you've got your payment, you've got your interest. So to get the principal, well, we're going to take the interest away from the payment to get the principal. So this is 296.90 minus 34.49. And that is 262.41. You should observe that the principal is slowly going up. You take that principal away, okay, and you get 94.76.11. And the last one is probably the toughest one if you remember I just need to subtract to get the other one. If you have both blanks, the payment doesn't really help you there. You do something with these two numbers. I will show what I do here. I subtract them. I subtract those two, and I get 263.34 when I subtract them, because I want to know what happened from here to here. And it's that number that is inserted into the principal here for the third month. Now that you have this, you take that away from the payment, and you get 33.56 as is. So what I will tell you is this: I give half a mark per box. So there's 1 mark for having these correct, 1 for that, and 1 for that. So each row is worth a mark because each row has 2 half marks in it. So give yourselves a mark out of 3 to see whether or not you got that one right. Next, state and explain 2 advantages of leasing. Yeah.
If I got like the number 2 wrong, but I use the math on number, I'm assuming it's, do I still get the marks if I got number 2 wrong
and that transferred
yeah,
over.
Yeah, it's transferred over.
Okay, so this is a good point. What if I make a mistake way up here and then that transfers over? You only lose half a mark once, and that's why I would show my work, right? So you only lose half a mark up here because this is going to affect everything else that follows. So yes, you are right. Don't worry about that so much today. You just say, hey, I made just one mistake. I'm very sure I'll just make this one mistake, 2.5 out of 3. Obviously, if it's all blank, then it's 0. If you did 1 row, if it's correct, you get 1 out of 3. So you be the judge today. 2 advantages of leasing, I would say, is lower payments. Why? You only pay for part of the vehicle. Okay? And in particular, you pay for the depreciation of the car. That's why a lease is lower than buying it, right? They know, oh, take it for 2 years, bring it back. What else can you say? You can say, in general, leasing will be safer. You have the latest safety standards, safety features. You can say it's got backup cameras, it's got sensors, it's got more airbags, it's got, you name it, right? Yeah. You just have this, so you get half. So each one gets half and half, half and half, okay? So if you only have 2 things in here, then you get 1 out of 2. If you just have 1 row, you get 1 out of 2, right? So forth. Please don't leave these blank, okay? Amrit works part-time and attends university as well. So focus on the story, okay? Part-time work and is a student. So you're not making a whole lot of money, right? Justify why she should buy a used car instead of a new one. You can say a lower depreciation cost. You can say a lower insurance cost. You can say she wouldn't pay for freight. But you cannot say it's cheaper. We know that, right? You have to say specifically, why are you saying it's cheaper? Most of the value was already lost up front, and when you buy used, the depreciation slows down. Absolutely, use that. I know you know more than what we sometimes think. Use your words and calculate the interest rate for question 3. I'm just going to tell you that it revolves around this one. The interest for the first month is always the loan times the interest rate over 100 divided by 12, right? That is the formula to figure out I. So let's say we take the very first row in our table up there. What's I for the very first month? 3542, correct? What loan, what was the original loan? I'm going back up to the table, by the way. 10,000. This, I'm going to call that X, okay? I'm going to call that X right now. I'm just going to turn all of that into, I don't know what it is. And this is divided by 12. Now, this is bonus, so you don't really need to worry about this too much, but I will multiply this side by 12 to get rid of that 12, and I'll do the same thing to this side. What's 12 times 3542? It's 425.04. And I'm left with, what am I left with? 10,000x, right? Algebra, what? Divided by 10,000. That cancels out that. So you go 425 divided by 10,000, and you get 0.0425. How's that an interest rate? What's with that? That's not a percentage, right? Just multiply that by 100 and you've got your interest rate. So you can say that that's the same thing as 4.25%. Say what? Yeah. Okay, so hold on. We've got 1, 2, 3, and another 3, so that's 7. 7 marks for this back side, and of course, if you got the bonus, I don't care how you got the bonus. If you got the bonus, you get a +1, right? So 7, and what was the first page? 7 as well. So there we get our total of 14. If you didn't do it, okay, make sure your name is on there. If you didn't do it, you can just keep it, right? Don't hand it in if you didn't do it.